this first wave is still not done. States, including California, are having to re-shut down because this pandemic is not done.
Yeah.
Workers should not, will not pay for the corona crisis like we did in 2008 under, as a previous speaker mentioned, a Democratic president.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jai. I'm a member of the Independent Socialist Group. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today to join the struggle for a worker stimulus and to build a political party that can really represent us. During the worst global pandemic in a century, our communities have seen firsthand the utter betrayal of our so-called representatives and failing to defend working people. The coronavirus stimulus bills have been woefully inadequate, failing to provide the most basic protections, like canceling rent and debt payments, mandating the bosses provide paid sick leave, and prohibiting layoffs and pay cuts during the pandemic. Meanwhile, the Democrats and Republicans alike are tripping over themselves to dump tax breaks into the pockets of the capitalist class to the tune of trillions of dollars, actively choosing to bail out corporations again and again, while countless workers and their kids literally starve and are at risk of eviction. The death and destruction caused by COVID-19 was not at all inevitable. This pandemic could have been stopped in its tracks if capitalism had taken the time to plan for it, to amass the resources needed to fight and trace the disease and develop treatments for similar coronaviruses before this pandemic ever even began. If healthcare was free and accessible to all who needed it, and if income inequality didn't force people into dire poverty, precarity, and homelessness. This artificial crisis, brought about by capitalism and coronavirus, has been the ultimate stress test that has yet again proven that capitalism is inhumane and incapable of resolving the crises it creates. It is becoming clearer than ever that in the immediate term, we are in desperate need of some form of expanded Medicare for all, in which healthcare is fully funded, provides comprehensive and high-quality care for all, free to all. Workers shouldn't pay for the crisis with our jobs, with our homes, or with our health. The economic losses of the crisis must fall squarely on the capitalist class that created this crisis in the first place. We must raise taxes on the mega-rich, the millionaires, the billionaires, and the corporations that exploit working people and bleed us dry of basic resources. We will tax the rich to raise the funds needed to survive and pay for pandemic relief, and rebuild the social safety net that has been utterly gutted by Democrats and Republicans alike. We must fight to defend and extend our rights and living standards through working class struggle. The experience of the recent strike wave that was heralded by the phenomenal West Virginia teachers strike back in 2018 has only been advanced and borne out further by the numerous labor struggles that have emerged because of coronavirus. When we fight, we win. We must continue to organize and strike, pooling our forces to fight for 24-hour general strikes across the country, demanding that our governments bail out workers, not corporations, demanding that our governments end mass incarceration and slash the bloated police budgets and instead investing in Black and brown communities, demanding that we tax the rich to build affordable housing, basic social services, and fund a socialist Green New Deal. Capitalism offers no way out of this crisis, neither does its two parties. The Movement for a People's Party and all left community organizations and unions must decisively break from the Democratic Party. Giving platforms to supporting and voting for Democrats will not work, as history has shown us. Voting Democrat hasn't solved mass incarceration or the endemic police and state violence against people of color and poor workers. Voting Democrat hasn't gotten our undocumented brothers and sisters the right to citizenship or demilitarize the police. The Democratic Party serves the interests of the corporations, and no amount of reforming its structures will fundamentally change that. We need a new party, a workers' party, that is independent of corporate influence and independent of the corrupt two-party system. The ISG calls on all progressive organizations, left activists, unions, and voters to join in the effort for an independent party. It is the only way we can begin to solve the crises that capitalism creates and fight for a socialist program that can advance the needs of the working class and the youth and build the confidence needed to throw capitalism into the dustbin of history. If you agree with anything I've said today and you're interested in learning more about socialism and building the struggle for society in which power is firmly held in the hands of working people, then you should join the Independent Socialist Group. Our table is right over there. We'd be happy to continue the conversation. Join the fight back. Join the socialists. Fight for a people's stimulus.
Yeah.
I'm a proud member of the Independent Socialist group. And I want to push back a little bit on the promises that McGovern just made. Corporations and politicians have been in charge of the response to this pandemic, and they have absolutely bungled it. This pandemic and our response to it is being managed in the interests of the corporations and the CEOs, not working people who are the majority of society, the people who make society function, and are the ones suffering from wage losses, job losses, home losses, and illness and death. I was asked, as I think many of the other speakers were, to bring up stories about the difficulties of COVID in our communities and our workplaces. Do you want to know why I say this response has been bungled? This response has been bungled in Worcester because St. Vincent's and UMass Memorial, both two huge hospitals and employers in Worcester, have furloughed medical staff in the middle of a global pandemic where we need every trained medical worker to help combat this response, whether they already know or they can be retrained, and workers desperately need their jobs. These corporations have received millions in state and federal aid. The Educator Association of Worcester, our local teachers union for public schools, is trying to fight back against the 106 educators who were laid off when our schools are desperately trying to transition in as healthy and productive a way as possible to supporting our kids through remote learning. CSX and Stop and Shop essential workers are fighting for hazard pay. These are the workers who have kept all of us afloat while CEOs gorge themselves on stimulus funds.
That's right.
2,000 people signed a petition to support at least CSX railroad workers getting hazard pay, and the company refused. Stop and Shop is now revoking their grocery store workers' hazard pay, but this first wave is still not done. States, including California, are having to re-shut down because this pandemic is not done.
Yeah.
Workers should not, will not pay for the corona crisis like we did in 2008 under, as a previous speaker mentioned, a Democratic president. The Independent Socialist group supports and will fight for the demands of a people's stimulus. Worcester City Council should be ashamed of having defended racism and brutality in our community.
That's right.
Shutting down public comments, censoring speakers, refusing to listen to protesters, and diverting $250,000, as other speakers have already mentioned, that is desperately needed to keep public education and other public sector jobs and services running in the face of COVID, to an already bloated $52 million budget.
Yeah.
We call to defund the police, dramatically reduce bloated municipal and county police budgets, especially through demilitarization. Use the money cut from police budgets to keep our teachers employed, our social workers employed, to expand necessary social services and programs. McGovern wants specifics? No overtime scams. Prosecute people who are running millions of dollars of overtime scams. No more expensive military equipment for our cops. Their cops, actually.
Woo! That's right.
Implement free and universal health care for all, paid for by taxing the rich. Even Democrats like Sanders, who claim that they stand behind Medicare for all and universal health care, want to tax us. We already don't make enough money. We haven't had a real wage increase in 50 years. Health costs up 30%, education up 30%. Healthcare costs are absolutely absurd, and they're only going to get worse as the insurance companies try to recover from this pandemic. Place hospital, insurance, and pharmaceutical companies under Democratic public ownership. Reopen shuttered community health clinics and hospitals, including our own Plumley Village Community Health Clinic, for a public and cooperative effort to develop a COVID-19 vaccine that would be freely available to everyone worldwide, not taxpayer-subsidized, for-profit competition. Monthly $2,000 cash payments for all, guaranteed everyone, regardless of quarantine, furloughs, layoffs, childcare responsibilities, retirement, disability, or reduced hours and tips. Pandemic support to be paid to workers directly, not through employers. Suspend rent and mortgage payments for the duration of the pandemic. Payments should be forgiven, not delayed. For a 3-year rent freeze on residential properties and other rent control combined with a massive expansion of high-quality public housing. Democratic committees, including homeowners and renters, should control housing policy. Turn vacant homes and luxury apartments into quality-free housing for homeless or at-risk people.
Yeah!
Suspend student and credit card loan payments. Forgive 100% of student debt, which preys on our youth and low-income and especially first-generation students. Cancel outstanding credit card debt, which many working families, because we haven't had real wage increases, have had to use as a stopgap just to live day-to-day, pay bills, buy food, and other essentials. We won't win any of this by lobbying the Democrats.
That's right.
There is no middle ground where both the capitalists and the workers' interests can meet and exist in harmony. Their money comes from our exploitation.
Woo!
Vote blue no matter who has put us in precisely this position.
Yeah!
And police brutality happened under a Democratic President Obama. Imperialist wars, the bailouts of the big banks in 2008, they do not stand for us. We will win by organizing a mass movement, uniting the working class, the ones who make society function. Sorry, can't read my own notes. Uniting the working class in an organized mass movement until the Democrats and Republicans alike are forced to concede to our demands. The civil rights movement didn't win because they asked politely or repeatedly. They didn't win through legal channels or by appealing to politicians' morals. They won because they organized, rallied, marched, and striked, challenging business as usual and disrupting price profits. In the crisis, the state and national government can mobilize in an instant. Look at the way that they poured money into the stock market in March. What effect did those trillions of dollars have? It paused the crash for a grand 20 minutes.
Yeah!
We won the Environmental Protection Agency under Nixon, a president who was seen as just as bad as Trump was when he was in office. Roe versus Wade, an end to the Vietnam War. These and other victories that make our lives as bearable as they are today and are being eroded away, but they came from mass movements. It would be the role of an independent workers' party to link up with these mass movements, to bring resources and ideas and a platform to the table to help build the pressure on the capitalist class. In such a party, you and I can be members and have the right to debate and vote on the platform and actions of the party. We could hold our candidates accountable to our democratically agreed platform and to only taking the average wage of the people they represent, not the hundreds of thousands that congresspeople like McGovern make, who has already left this platform.
That's right.
These members and representatives would put their feet on the ground to build movements, call rallies and strikes, not just say pretty words they don't plan to act on. The Independent Socialist Group wants to be a part of building that party. We will continue to work with others who build the movements for healthcare, housing, guaranteed income, canceled debt, and an end to police racism and brutality. If you too want to get involved, check out the Movement for a People's Party and get involved with ISG. We want to continue this conversation. Our table is right over there. Come and talk to us. Have a good one.